Welcome. This is Odum Maths, and today I want us to look at graph of quadratic equation, and under it we are looking at positive and negative values of quadratic graph. Okay, so when we are given a question of this nature, then after drawing we may be asked to state the range of values of x for which y or the graph is positive or negative. Okay, now let's start from the positive sense. So when we look at this graph, this is our 0. Up here, y values are positive. Then down here, y values are negative. So when you talk of the negative or the positive values of x, we mean the positive values, those are above the x-axis. Those below, y values are negative. Okay, so the range of values of x for which y is positive, that is from this point, from where we have x equals b to where we have x equals c, all the values within this point are positive for y values. Then those before x and those after, before b and those after c, these values are negative. So from the graph, the range of values of x for which y or the graph is positive is b less than x less than c. It is less than because at the point of b and then c, at that values, at that point, the y values are 0. So that is why we don't include them, but we say positive. So those points that are above, those y values that are above 0, that is what we are talking of. Okay. Then the range of values of x for which y or the graph is negative. In this one too, looking at this one, the values from between a and b are those values that make the y to be negative. Then between c and d too, these values also make the y to be negative. So we say that a less or equal to x less than b, or we write x is less than b. That is also accepted. Then again, we go to because the answer is supposed to be 2. So and now between c and d 2. So c is not part. C less than x less or equal to d, or we say that x values that are greater than c will make the graph negative. Okay, so we can use the table to answer that question, the positive and negative question. So looking at this, between -2, -1. These values, so only this one here, y is for the -2, y is negative. Then 5 to y is negative. So if we are asked to find the values of x that makes y negative, that is -2. So y is less than -1, because from here between this, y is negative. Then y is also greater than 4. X is greater than 4. So here x is less than -1. Then here x is greater than 4. Then when we come to the positive values, that is between -1 and then 4. Because at that point y values are 0. So we say that -1 less than x less than 4. That is that. Okay, so now let's go to the graph and look at how we are going to answer the question of this nature. So the range of values of x for which y, that is the graph, is negative. So this is the x-axis. This is our x-axis. So and then this is y-axis. Now from this point to this point, y is negative. Then from this point to this point, y is again negative because they are below the x-axis. Okay. Then from this point to this point, y is positive because they are above the x-axis. Now stating the answer, the range of values of x for which y or the graph is positive. So per this graph, we say that -2 less than x, or less or equal to, because that is part, less or equal to x less than -1. Or we can also say that x values that are less than -1. So x is less than -1. That will make the graph negative. And then when you go to the other side, because this is supposed to be two answers because there are two pieces. So the other one is also 4 less than x less or equal to 5. Or we say that x values that are greater than 4 also make the graph. This one is for negative. This one is rather for negative. So let me copy this, then after I will change and then write the correct thing here. So that is -2 less or equal to x less than -1, or x is less than -1, and then 4 is less than x less or equal to 5, or x is greater than 4. Okay. Then on this point, for this one, the range of values of x for which x is positive. So positive is between -1 on x-axis and then 4 on x-axis. So that is -1 less than x less than 4. So that is that. Thanks for watching and see you in our next lesson. Bye.